La 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 la.
When I was a young impressionable man, my wife conceived a fiendish plan. She wanted the same kind of bathroom floor as the smug individual who lives next door.
That son of a carpenter who lives next door.
And to further tax my sanity, she proposed that I should build a vanity like one that she had apparently seen on the cover of a decorator magazine.
She had seen it on the cover and she said that if I love her I must build it just the same as in the magazine.
Well, I said it can't be done, my dear, you've got to be a plumber or an engineer. She said it's
been done by lots of fools, and all they were using were simple tools.
Using very unsophisticated simple tools.
And though I protested long and hard, she phoned up a feller from the lumber yard, and to make quite sure that nothing was missed, he trotted round that evening and made a list.
He trotted right around and he put his briefcase down and he made a comprehensive and expensive list.
The next day I came home from town and the truck from the lumberyard had been around. There were piles of stuff and right on top was a pretty glitter laminated countertop.
Such a decorative laminated countertop.
There were pots of paint and ceiling tiles and imitation paneling in various styles. There were hammers and saws and instruction books and lots of little cartons labeled use no hooks.
Open at the other end, do not mutilate or bend. You must struck it from the side and never use no hooks.
My wife surveyed this monstrous pile and said to me with a beaming smile,
just get it upstairs immediately, for we're gonna start living very graciously.
Very decorator magazine graciously.
So I dutifully answered, yes, my love, and I dragged it all to the floor above. My back was wrenched and my arms were sore as I threw it in the middle of the bathroom floor.
Oh, my arms were very sore as I piled it on the floor till you couldn't see the toilet for the 2x4.
From that day on, I must confess, the bathroom's been in a hell of a mess. We wash and bathe at the kitchen sink and use the laundry tubs for what do you think?
So if you want to tile a floor, or hang a door, or build a shelf, then the thing for you to tell your wife is do it yourself. Camping tra-la-la, that's thousands of people just stamping all the flora down. Straight from town, they come out with their trailers and cars to sleep under the stars. And as soon as they're here, get the beer, just toss out the cans. What the hell, where it lands when you're camping? For you're out in the pure open air and you haven't a care. When you're camping, tra-la-la, the flies and mosquitoes are buzzing round and greeting you, also eating you. And the ivy that's poison will get on your boys and your girls, and your wife gets the fright of her life when she squats on a porcupine. That's not a joke when you're camping. This communing with nature, it usually makes you feel sick. When you're camping, tra-la-la, down comes the rain and makes everyone feel extra good. There's lots of mud when your clothes are all wet and you just can't forget that it's cozy and warm in your suburban home. You don't get up and run, for that's part of the fun when you're camping. It's this kind of privation that's made us a nation of men. When you're camping, tra-la-la, that's where your appetite's such that you should eat a horse. You don't, of course, for the hot dogs are charred and the bacon's too hard and the coffee's gone cold and the bread's getting moldy. The usual plan is to eat from a can when you're camping. And you wanna go home where at least you could eat from a plate, but you can't, so pretend that it's great and it sounds so delightful. I hardly can wait to go camping. 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 Oh yes, we have next year's auto. We have next year's auto today. And though you may remember it's only September, the new cars are here to stay. For months and months we have waited, and now this year's models are outdated. And yes, we have next year's auto. So come in and drive 'em today. The car that's the lowest and longest and fastest and strongest of any car that's ever been designed. It's simply bursting with power, just 200 miles an hour.
It was built with growing families in mind.
It has a padded dash, so if the thing should crash, you won't go through the windshield and break the tinted glass. It's the car that won the West. It's climbed Mount Everest. It's the only car that anyone has made that's traveled underwater through the Everglades. Oh yes, we have next year's auto, the model that's now being sold. So don't be afraid, for we'll take as a trade-in your clunker that's 6 months old. So won't you come in and wheel her at your nearest world's biggest dealer. And yes, we have next year's auto that you should be driving today. For every car should have a name, and this one here is just the same. There are Cougars, there are Mustangs, there are Barracudas too. There's almost every animal except the kangaroo. It sounds as if the makers have been cleaning out the zoo. But the public wants a name that's right in style, and so we're introducing next year's Crocodile. Crocodile. It has a customized, vinylized, sanitized interior and wood grain tires as well. It was made in Detroit and we're happy to show it, and we know it'll really sell. It has a compressed hydrofoil rear end suspension to smooth out bumps and jerks. Why, it's got panoramic vision
And color television.
and a toilet that really works. So here's to the car for next year. It's the object of all our pride and passion. Obsolescence you don't have to fear. We'll guarantee that it'll always be in fashion for 364 days. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Now they say that the West was woolly and wild, and it weren't fit for animal, woman, or child. We've heard about outlaws again and again, but we don't hear too much of those other young men.
It was down by the Pecos I met him. His 6 guns were held up with pink satin straps. When I asked if he never wore denim, he replied, "My dear fellow, I'd rather have chaps."
He was Peter the pederast puncher, a young desperado just fresh out of jail. But the posse caught him at the Frontier
For offenses involving the mail.
Oh, the West was a place for a young man to go. From its yippee-yi-yippee-yi. I was in a saloon in Dodge City. I'd staked out my claim and I just struck it rich when I seen a young miner right pretty. He told me his name and he said with a swish, he was Gordon the gold-digging gay boy, a pandering prospector who plied me with wine. But I found out that he was a playboy, prospecting for something of mine. Now all them cowpunchers had legs what was bowed, and it weren't on account of the horses they rode. I was riding the rods from Topeka when I jumped in a boxcar, and who should I see but a feller who said, "Pleased to meet ya," and then with a smile put his hand on my knee. He was Art the hermaphrodite hobo, a drifter with sexual talents quite strange. He told me that he was a homo,
the friendliest home on the range.
So from Texas to Tombstone to Tucson, you can see that the West was a terrible place. No wonder they died with their boots on. They were scared to unfasten a lace.
Onward the establishment, spring to the attack, taking 2 steps forward, taking 3 steps back, all combined to combat nonconformity. Hear the clarion calling, WASP. Onward the establishment, merge against the foe, fighting for retention of the status quo, fighting for retention of the status quo. Lower types of humans are jealous of